Hi, I'm Brendan Baker with Transmission Digest, and today we're here with Mike Riley, and we thought we'd do a little interview with Mike on his background, where he came from. A lot of you may know him from the industry and years past and working with him, but there's a lot of people that don't. So Mike has been the face of our videos now for the last year, and we just wanted to give a little background on him. So Mike, how did you get to start in the industry?
I've always been a wrench. I started off with go-karts and doodle bugs, and from there I decided that automatic transmissions back then seemed to be the thing to do, so I kind of started specializing in that. I went to a vocational high school that did auto mechanics, but I kind of specialized in transmissions even there. And so even before I left high school, I went to work for a transmission company as a rebuilder. And after a couple of years, I ended up being... So
you didn't sweep floors to start off with?
No.
You went in in...
As a rebuilder.
Right in as a rebuilder, yeah.
But after a couple of years, I started managing the shop. We acquired other shops, so a couple of more years went by, and I was supervising a multiple shop operation for a period of time.
Yeah.
And
did you like supervising, going from rebuilding? Because I hear a lot of guys are like, they enjoy the hands-on part of it and not so much the management part of it, and I think some people, it just depends on your makeup, I guess. And
well, part of what I did still involved training. So anytime a new transmission came in, I did it so that I could work with our rebuilding staff,
train the other guys,
and train the other people to be able to, provide the information we needed to other shops, which were our satellite shops, and we actually had to run a technical hotline to be able to function.
Just for your other techs.
For our other shops.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, it was, and you're basically having a new one would come in, you'd have to kind of reverse engineer it to see what all needed to go in it. How did you? So your formal training, you were in VOCED, VOCED school, which I did that myself too. But we didn't have automatic we didn't really do any transmission. We worked on old brakes, but
Right. It depends on it depends on the school.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I know I talked to a guy in Long Island who, that's where he learned to build transmissions at a vocational school in Long Island. So why? So you chose transmissions because you just gravitated to them, or you just had a natural affinity for that?
And again, any wrench is certainly familiar with the entire car, engines, brakes, you name it. But I chose to specialize in transmissions.
Well, and nowadays, I mean, you have to kind of know the whole car. I mean, it's a holistic thing, right? How many years would you say you've been working on transmissions in the industry?
Well, I'm an old guy. The first half of my career was about 25 years. I spent in shop environment, but then I left and went to TranStar and was a technical director for about 2.5 decades as well.
So you've basically had like two careers,
More or less.
More or less, or 9 lives. And so at there you did you kind of did a similar thing where you're helping to train people and breaking down transmissions to find out what kits you need.
When you deal with a transmission parts distributor, we had to do a lot of R&D, quality control, as well as training for salespeople, product managers, and so on. Issuing bulletins and product information for the field, cataloging. There's a lot of aspects that you don't have to do in a shop environment.
Right. But at the same time, you're still working with you have to get that ready to go out the door so the shop can basically open the box and put everything in and not worry about it.
When that transmission job comes into the shop needs the iron. You have to have everything available when they need it.
In that box.
So we would work on a transmission today that shops might not start dealing with for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, oh, okay. So you would have to start sourcing a lot of the parts and things like, so now they're talking about a lot of the 10-speed. Some of the shops may not be seeing them yet, but there's probably people already working on them.
You have to do that because you can't just on Tuesday, when the jobs start coming in, collect information. You have to have everything done. Cataloging information, part numbers, sourcing the product, so that you can accommodate that shop when that job comes in.
When they start coming in, and a lot of times that's when they come off warranty or some of those things when they just start having problems right off the bat. You've got to be on that. What would you say is like your most difficult or challenging transmission job or transmission type that you've ever built or dealt with?
If you ask any rebuilder which transmission you like to build the least, everybody's going to have their pet. I would say out of all the transmissions that I've dealt with, I never was a fan of Hondas because of the how they're put together and a lot of disparity model to model. But again, it's not
changed everything from, it could be the next year they've got another new thing they've changed.
But again, it's all nuts and bolts.
Yeah, in the end, it is nuts and bolts. And how did you go about acquiring all this knowledge in the transmission? Was it just, like you said, working on them all the time and seeing the guts of them out, knowing what had to be replaced? And
well, over the years, just longevity. You acquire a lot of information. I've been fortunate enough to also deal with a lot of experts in the field. There's a lot of guys with a wealth of information, and there's been a lot of information generated. And believe me, I tried to read all of it. No matter who wrote it, I would try to read it, catalog it, and not to mention even with OE suppliers.
Yeah.
Working with them as well.
Looking at all the issues or you probably read all the TSBs when they.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of a lifelong learning thing, and you never stop learning because there's always something new coming out.
Absolutely.
Things are always changing. What's one piece of advice you would give a new tech?
Well, again, today with the proliferation of transmission models, you can't get frustrated that I get a new job in, it's taken me a long time to get up to speed on it, and then I'm not going to see that now for another 6 months or a year. You can't spit 3 or 4 transmissions a day out today. You might do a transmission job. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to due diligence, determining what's wrong, determining what's bad, accessing parts. Even after you get it back together, now you have to deal with the computer system in the vehicle. You may do the best rebuild there is, put it in a car, have all kinds of problems. Right. So now you have to do different downloads and upgrades and so on to be able to make this thing work.
So the process just takes a lot longer.
It just
today.
takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
You can't get frustrated by
persistence,
doing that.
I think, is probably one of the most mechanics have to be kind of hard-headed to keep hammering away on it and trying to figure out a problem. And
any good wrench has a need-to-know ability.
Right. You got to be that. You have to have that curiosity to know and find that solution. Right.
Absolutely.
Well, so a final question here: do you ever plan on retiring?
I thought I already had.
Yeah. Well, so you're not allowed to retire from here, but other stuff you can retire from. Just as long as you stay coming in here, we're good with that. But.
Well, considering if you slice my wrist, ATF pours out.
Right. Well, with that said, I think we're going to wrap it up here. And thank you all for watching. And Mike, thank you for all your insights and help.
Appreciate it.